Okay, here is a basic tutorial on doing manlier makeup for costume. I've already done my foundation and half of my face here. For foundation, I just did basic foundation that you would use in normal everyday makeup. When you're doing your foundation, you want to make sure that you get your lips, and then if you need to, do a little bit of reshaping with like a foundation crayon or a concealer, just to kind of reduce lip shape. You want to make sure that the top edge of your lips around here, you kind of reduce the curve of it, and then in the bottom you want to reduce that curve as well, but also take out some of the peachy color, and just make them look a little bit more androgynous and pale. You don't want them to be really pink or really red. Now for the first half, it's basically all just shading, and shading is really the most important part. I don't have any good particular shading colors or palettes that I recommend. What I use for most of my shading when I'm trying to give more definition is I use it's a palette by L'Oreal. It's one of the hip high intensity pigments, and it's this one. It's Brazen, and it's the pink and brown duo, and I use the brown in all of my shading. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the brown on just a regular powder brush, and then what you need to do is shade in the temple. Just bring it in from the hairline down to the eye, and you don't want a lot, but you do want enough to give it definition. And then I'm going to sweep it in under the eyebrow as well, because for men their brow ridge is a little bit more defined, so I'm just going to sweep it in under the brow, and in to the corner of the eye near the nose. And then the next part is the cheekbone, and you want to find your cheekbone with your brush. If you can't find it, just by knowing, it's going to line up with your ear pretty well, but just find it and then shade in there. And you don't want to shade in too much with the cheekbone because men's cheekbones are not as defined as women's. So if you're trying to define your own cheekbones, this is a good way you can do it. This is usually where they recommend you put blush in regular videos, and then kind of connect the two, just so that you knock out some of that definition of the cheekbone a little bit. But you do want this definition just above the jaw, and then you're going to take it under the jaw, and you can use your own jawline for definition, or you can create a false jawline if you want more of an angled jawline. You can take the color up a little bit more on the skin, but I usually just use my own, and then spread it down the neck a little bit so it doesn't look like you just drew a line of color on your face. And that's it for the basic shading. On the cheek and the jaw, and then you want to define the nose as well. Give it a little bit more of a thinner look at the bridge. So I'm using the same color. So I've got kind of a more chiseled nose now. and you can take it on the sides of the nose here as well, if you've got a more round nose, to give it a slimmer look. And then I take a little bit just in the corners of the mouth and just kind of blend that in on both sides. And then the last little bit for shading is up here by the brow. And you're just going to come straight up from the nose where you were shading before and make a little bit of a false crease in the brow. And then if you want to define the eyebrows, I use just a plain eyebrow pencil, lighter than my eyebrow color, to draw a little bit of a shape, and then fill it in with darker color eyeshadow. Over here I used black, and so I'll just draw a shape. You want to take it a little bit lower than your natural brow line. And I'll just usually do a couple sketchy lines because I'm going to cover it up anyway. Just to give myself an idea of where I want the makeup. And then I use a brow brush just to kind of brush up what hair is there, so it gives it a little bit more of a fuller look as well. And then just kind of blend what I put down there. Okay, and then you can do a highlight on the chin and the jaw. If you want to bring out the jaw, should be a little bit stronger than the rest of the face, so it should be a focal point. And you can just use a really light color. I'm just using like a really off-white because it blends really easily. And then you can use the same just on the nose and above the eyebrows to define the brow ridge. And I'll take a little bit more shading on the sides of the chin here just to bring it out more. And then you can do, more character defining things once you have a basic shape. Eyebrows are going to be very characterized, so it depends on your character and what the eyebrows look like. You can do like a 5 o'clock shadow to take just a little bit of black on a stippling brush, so just on the very edge, and then take that just across the areas that men normally have facial hair. And then the easiest thing to really that you can do is just study men's facial features and see what stands out more on them. And there you go. That's about it. So I hope that helped somebody out there as my wig cap starts slipping off. Yeah, if you have any questions, put an ask in my ask box. I'll try to answer as best I can. But that's about all I've got. So thanks.